enable it. Tesla knows all the stuff about your battery pack too, because we have communications with all these things wirelessly. So you really could say, gosh, 2 to 4 o'clock is peak use. Everybody send your power the other way for a couple hours. And the battery packs could certainly handle the cycling. I think there's challenges of knowing, obviously the owner of the vehicle has to enable that and put some minimum amount of charge they want in the battery.
That image is powered by a Model S. There are no wires. So that is a projector on a Model S with the energy coming from the battery pack, and that is what's producing that image. And that is the factory. Like a lot of people may not realize, that is actually part of the factory. That is not a screen.
Greetings, this is Greg for Tesla Fan Insight. My talk today focuses on a follow-on to the clip that you just saw regarding turning your battery into a profit center. De geest nog eenmaal bijna straatstreetje en niet allemaal. This is Greg for Tesla Fan Insight. There is a theme that I was noticing over the last, let's say, year or so on Tesla, and that regards what options do you have for turning your battery into a profit center? So if you may recall, during the Model 3 announcement in July, Elon Musk made a point of using the battery pack to power lights that were illuminating him in the cars during that session, and it worked great. And what this really illustrated is the fact that there's a good chance that you could use your battery for other things than just to power your car. So back in 2012, Dave Bush from Tesla was talking in that early piece you just saw about the fact that there's a really good option there, which is that starting from the period of 2 to 4 in the afternoon, it's the lowest production time during the day for electricity from renewable sources. It's also the peak consumption time for commercial users when it comes to electricity. So the question that he was asked was, is it possible to, with a smart grid, send electricity back through the system from your car? And he was answering, yes, this is definitely doable. In this talk, he further explained that there was an awesome situation where the owner of the vehicle could comfortably have their battery cycle into the grid and provide power for 2 hours a day, as long as it was known how much battery would be needed as you were heading home. So bottom line is that there's a need for backup battery power, particularly in the 2 to 4 period of the day because of heavy commercial demand. And we can say, for example, when it's really hot or really cold, that might be an influencer of even further draw from commercial customers. So there's the possibility that you can actually go ahead and use this capability to turn a profit. So I went and did some research, and 25 cents a kilowatt hour is what consumers are being charged. But I thought I saw as much as $6 a kilowatt hour being charged to commercial customers during peak periods for their power. And in theory, if you could offer 5 or 5.5 for the power in your vehicle, you could theoretically buy power at night when it's cheap for consumers and sell it back in the afternoon when there's heavy demand from commercial customers for this power. The other thought that I was thinking in mind was, at 25 cents a kilowatt hour, is it really worth the headache of possibly using up your battery range for it? And I'd have to say, 25 cents times, let's say, 60 units. I don't know. I mean, for a few dollars, for $5 or $10, it may not make sense. But if you're getting back $50 to $100 a day from this exchange, in theory, you could possibly pay for your vehicle usage, could be for free if you allowed them to use your battery um, in this process. So I really think that this is something to think about. It's worth time and energy to review, because there's a possibility that you could pay for your car by allowing your battery to be used by the grid during peak demand times when you may not be driving around based on being at work anyway. Um, the other question that would naturally come to mind is what kind of damage does this do to the battery? And Dave explained that for all batteries, including lithium-ion, as long as you keep the usage cycle between 20 and about 70%, you could have thousands of cycles without it being an issue. This further brought up an interesting question, which was, what if you bought a used Model S and the Model S's have unlimited supercharger for free? So in theory, an enterprising person could take their Model S to the supercharger, fill it up, and then drive to work the next day and sell that power during the peak period in the afternoon at a profit, and simply do this cycle on a daily basis or X number of times a week to possibly pay off your vehicle. So it's one of the benefits of those that have purchased that used vehicle, that they have lifetime free supercharger. And we're not even talking about the fact that superchargers are now being put in inner city locations. So in theory, you could go to the supercharger, refill your vehicle, and then possibly, once your vehicle is full, sell it back onto the grid by bringing it to your office, etc. So I think some really interesting possibilities are opening up. What Dave Bush also explained is there's actually a huge problem right now, which is the cost of battery storage is high, and so therefore, and difficult to get with this lithium ion, and you need fast discharge batteries to handle the peaker needs of the grid. And so there are some interesting issues that are lurking in this regard as well. So I'm impressed. I think that, it's possible that owners could supplement their income or the cost of the vehicle by them becoming part of the grid at peak times to reduce, the cost being experienced by the utilities. Another sort of thought that comes from what I've learned in this whole space is the fact that when the utilities start running at peak from 2 to 4 p.m., they have what are called peaker units. So these are turbines that spin to produce electricity that are using natural gas or coal usually, and in some cases, obviously, battery, where Tesla has installed it in particular. But the other issue that happens with these peakers is when they come online, they're actually producing a lot of pollution to go with the electricity production that they're doing. So users choosing to resell their power into the grid from 2 to 4 in the afternoon are not only getting some money back off of doing so because of the peak price on power at that time, but they're also helping to reduce the amount of emissions that might come from the peaker plants having to produce the same electricity. So you're also helping to reduce pollution at the same time. So I think this is a really fascinating circumstance. And, I think that obviously some more research is in order on this, but the fact that you can actually possibly pay off your car by reselling your power at peak times in the afternoons is a really interesting new development. I'm looking forward to what you guys have to say about this. I am sort of hesitant to do it, but I think I will go ahead and load up the example that Elon Musk presented of using the power to provide lighting to the Model 3 exhibit. I thought this was another innovative example of how you could use the power capabilities of Tesla. Looking forward to comments on this. Um, I'd have to say that if you look at only getting consumer rates back on power, the whole thing doesn't work because I think the headache factor and time factor is greater than you'd want to spend. But if all this is being done electronically, it's a matter of you moving a mouse. Um, even if it's a $5 to $10 or $20 a day swing back to you of cash, I think it might be worth considering. This is Greg for Tesla Fan Insight. Please like and subscribe to your Patreon, as well as watching some ad support. Helps keep us going. Thanks for your time. Tschüss, mach's gut, au revoir, tout à l'heure, la heat road. Please like and comment and share.